A mother crane was caught in a desperate situation with a massive boa constrictor, and her tiny chick was her only hope. Watch the incredible moment the brave chick flags down to hikers on a forest trail, leading to a dramatic and heroic rescue. This is the story of a determined baby bird that saved its mother. It was just an ordinary day in the woods. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and the trees were swaying gently in the breeze. But in the undergrowth, a drama was unfolding that would put the survival instincts of a mother sandhill crane and her little chick to the ultimate test. The mother crane had been ambushed by a giant boa constrictor and was now in mortal danger. As the snake tightened its coils around her body, she knew that time was running out. She struggled to free herself from its suffocating grip, but it was no use. The snake was too strong and she was slowly losing the battle. In the midst of her terror, she remembered her chick, who was just a few weeks old and still learning to fly. If she didn't do something fast, the snake would kill her and then turn its attention to her helpless baby. But what could she do? The answer came to her in a flash. She would have to distract the snake and give her baby a chance to escape. With a Herculean effort, she broke free from the snake's coils and let out a series of loud, piercing cries. It was a desperate gamble, but it worked. The snake, startled by her sudden movement, loosened its grip momentarily and turned its head to see what was going on. Just enough time for the baby crane to take off. With a burst of speed and agility that belied its young age, the chick dashed away from the scene of the attack, flapping its wings furiously to gain altitude. It soared above the treetops, its heart pounding in its chest, its little legs dangling behind it like a pair of tightropes. The snake, realizing what had happened, reared up and tried to strike at the fleeing chick, but it was too late. The baby crane had already reached safety. As the snake slithered away, defeated and hungry, the mother crane collapsed onto the forest floor, exhausted but relieved that her baby had survived. She had made the ultimate sacrifice, giving her life so that her child could live. Meanwhile, the baby crane flew as fast as it could, desperately searching for help. It had seen a group of hikers on the trail earlier and hoped that they could help its mother. As it flew over the treetops, it spotted the hikers and began to circle above them, letting out a series of distressed cries. At first, the hikers didn't notice the crane, but when they heard its cries, they looked up and saw the tiny bird frantically waving its wings. One of the hikers, a young woman named Sarah, had a sudden realization. She remembered seeing a sandhill crane couple in the same area a few days earlier, and she suspected that the bird was trying to lead them to the mother who was in trouble. Without hesitation, Sarah and her friends dropped their backpacks and followed the crane deeper into the forest. They pushed through the thick underbrush, their eyes scanning the ground for any sign of the mother crane. As they walked, they could hear the snake slithering through the leaves, getting closer. Finally, they saw her lying on the forest floor, her body pinned beneath the snake's coils. The snake had managed to ambush her again, and she was now in even greater danger than before. The hikers knew that they had to act fast if they wanted to save her. "Help me," whispered Sarah to her friends, her voice trembling with urgency. Together, they began to pull on the snake's tail, trying to get it to release its grip on the crane. The snake, surprised by the sudden intrusion, hesitated for a moment, giving the hikers the opening they needed. With a Herculean effort, they managed to drag the snake away from the mother crane, who was now too weak to fight back. As the snake slithered away, defeated and hungry, the mother crane collapsed onto the forest floor, exhausted but relieved that her baby had survived. She had made the ultimate sacrifice, giving her life so that her child could live. But unfortunately, despite the heroic efforts of the hikers, the mother crane was badly injured and there was no hope of her surviving the ordeal. As they cradled her lifeless body, they knew that they had failed, but they had to try. Sarah gently lifted the crane and carried it to her car. She knew that even if it was too late to save its life, she owed it to the bird to give it a proper send-off. The next morning, Sarah returned to the forest with a heavy heart. She buried the mother crane in a shallow grave, saying a silent goodbye to the bird that had captured her heart. As she filled in the hole, she made a mental note to visit the site every year on the anniversary of the crane's death to pay her respects. Weeks turned into months, and the memory of the brave mother crane faded from the headlines. But for Sarah, the memory of that day remained as vivid as ever. She often thought about the bird's incredible sacrifice and the heroic stand it had made against the boa constrictor. One crisp autumn morning, Sarah decided to visit the mother crane's grave. She had so many questions that had been weighing on her mind, such as, did the chick survive? And what became of it after the tragic incident? She approached the grave and laid a small bouquet of wild flowers on top of it. As she stood there paying her respects, she couldn't help but feel a sense of peace. Despite the sadness of the occasion, she was glad that she had played a small part in the bird's story. As she turned to leave, she noticed a familiar sight in the distance. A single sandhill crane was flying overhead, its wings outstretched, catching the wind. For a moment, Sarah felt a surge of hope. Could it be the chick? Had it survived and returned to the site of its mother's grave? She wasn't sure, but the thought gave her comfort. From that day on, Sarah continued to visit the mother crane's grave every year, each visit bringing back the bittersweet memories of that fateful day. She never forgot the lesson the brave bird had taught her about courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. As news of the incident spread, the mother crane became a local legend, with people from all over coming to the forest to pay their respects to the fallen hero. A memorial was erected at the site of her grave, a simple stone monolith that read, "Here lies a mother's love," and every year on the anniversary of her death, people gathered at the memorial to honor her memory. And as for the snake, it disappeared into the forest after the incident and was never seen again. Some say it died of hunger, unable to find another meal after the loss of its prey. Others say it simply moved to a different part of the forest, forever haunted by the memory of the brave crane. Whatever happened to the snake, it would live on in infamy, forever known as the killer snake that had tried to take the life of a mother crane. In the years since the incident, the forest had become a sanctuary for cranes, with dozens of pairs nesting in the area and raising their chicks. The mother crane's sacrifice had not been in vain. Her bravery had inspired a new generation of cranes to make their home in the forest, and every year, when the cranes returned to the forest to breed, they would gather at the mother crane's grave, paying homage to the bird that had given her life to protect them. And so the story of the mother crane became a tale passed down from generation to generation, a reminder of the incredible bravery and selflessness of these magnificent creatures. The hikers who had tried to rescue the mother crane also became local heroes, with people from all over coming to them for inspiration. They had faced danger head-on and tried to save the bird. Even though they knew that they might not succeed, their bravery had not gone unnoticed. Sarah, in particular, became a local celebrity, with newspapers and magazines running stories about her heroic efforts. But she remained humble, always quick to point out that she had only done what anyone else would have done if they had been in her shoes. She knew that the real hero of the story was the mother crane, whose bravery had saved the life of her chick. And so the story of the mother crane and the hikers who tried to save her became a local legend, a tale passed down from generation to generation. The mother crane's sacrifice had not been in vain. Her bravery had inspired a new generation of cranes to make their home in the forest, and her story had touched the hearts of everyone who had heard it.